Scotland ahead by 16 points to 14. Meanwhile, earlier on today, there were a couple of other finals just up the road in Maesteg to determine the other positions in this European Cup. This was the 5th versus 6th playoff earlier, which Italy won by 42 points to 14, and Marco Milanzo with that try. And Ireland against Lebanon was 3rd versus 4th. Then it was the Lebanese who went home with something to smile about, winning by 40 points to 16, and a fine individual try here by Travis Robinson, rounding off their scoring. So that was earlier on this afternoon at Maesteg, which just left this game to be decided. Halfway through, Scotland are ahead by 16 points to 14, and the Scots looking to get a grip back on this game, the grip they had earlier on.
That's good. It's good, Tim.
Until the young Welsh side put their game together.
Offside there,
and that's what Wales will be hoping to recapture. Here's Budworth, good ball from Budworth.
Well, the Welsh have started the second half at a great pace here. I think Iestyn Harris has said, listen, let's lift the tempo here, take the game to Scotland as much as possible. And look at that, what a brilliant set. They were only now 30 metres from the opponent's line.
Christian Roets plays the ball. Roets was the Welsh man of steel in 2006. He's been a good servant to the amateur game in Wales since he came here from South Africa. It's Wales on the attack now. Hoisted kick from Watson. Cross the field, oh, and Williams was underneath it. If he could have got that ball, there were options there, but he didn't. It's in the hands of the Scots. Talking of the Scots, missing Ian Morrison today. Late withdrawal from the Widnes, ex-Widnes, now Featherstone Rovers player. Morrison out with a chest infection. I think he can still talk. He's down on the sidelines with Ben.
Ian, we'll test your voice now. What did you make of that first half?
I thought we were exceptional. You know, the first 25 minutes we absolutely dominated them across the park. I thought Brendan Lindsay was absolutely exceptional with his kicking game. We had a couple of good repeat sets, kicking out of our own half, turning the wingers, turning the fullback. I think we converted it, and I think, you know, the last 15, Wales started to turn the screw a bit, and they came back into the game. We dragged the try with McNannon, you know, his last of his 3 tries, and you know, I think it's fitting that we went in winning, because we deserved to go and win in that first half.
And I know you'd love to be out there. How much would it mean for Scotland to hang on to this?
Oh, mate, I'd love to be out there. You know, it means so much to everyone in the camp. You know, we've built slowly over the last sort of 5-6 years, and you know, Scotland as a nation has not really won anything in rugby league, and then we've got, you know, we've got the qualifications to get to the World Cup, and we beat Fiji, which is the first game obviously Scotland's ever won in a World Cup, and obviously today it's the first final in Scotland's history, and it'll be absolutely superb, and all the boys are really determined to come away with a win, take some silverware back to Scotland with us.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, mate.
Ian Morrison sounding a little bit groggy, it has to be said. It would take a lot to keep him out of the game. It's not the first trophy that the Scots are after. In fact, they did win the under-16s European Shields earlier this year, beating Serbia 26-16 in the final. So they have picked some silverware up this year. They're in possession now, though, of Wales. On the last still, that ball coming back to Elliot Keir. And Keir, little kick chase. Back goes Gareth Moore, and Moore gets the ball. He gets Keir as well.
He's 10, you're on 16.
You can't help but like Elliot Keir's enthusiasm for the game. You know, when you watch players, young boys playing this sport, you see them sometimes just want to be totally involved. And Elliot Keir seems to have that attitude. Okay, he's now playing at the senior international level, but he still plays with the same enthusiasm as a young boy wanting to just get involved and be close to the action as much as possible.
You're not going to get penalties.
Scots have the ball back. Here is Brendan Lindsay, once of the Ipswich Jets in the Queensland competition. But has been in England for 4 years now. Sheffield Eagles. Here's Neil Lowe. That's the 5th tackle. The Welsh doing well to restrict the progress as Lindsay thumps the ball upfield, and you can see that he's not getting the distance he was in the first half. This breeze into the face of the Scots, making life a little bit more difficult.
That's 1-6 straight on.
He's also not getting the kicks away and getting good field position with them, because the way that Wales are defended, they've come out really strong the opening 4 minutes of this second half. They're running with conviction, they're pushing up, the players in support. You can see the options that Ian Watson's got when he takes the ball to the line. And there's just more movement in this Welsh side.
Wales on the attack now with Beasley. Beasley, a great ball, gets the ball away to Christian Roach. It looked forward, but Roach will get to the line. Great work from Chris Beasley to set that try up. Scots disputing the pass, but they didn't hang around. Satisfaction on the face of the Welsh coaching staff. And Christian Roach, who got a hat-trick on his Welsh debut in the game against Serbia when Wales won 88 points to 8. He got the Man of the Match award that day as well. Gets that try to finish off a lovely flowing move.
Well, it's been a supercharged effort from Wales here. From the start of this second half, they've played the game at such a tempo that Scotland has struggled on every single play. That's a fantastic pass from Chris Beasley. But the timing of the run and the willingness to be there in support is what makes it. He then backs himself, goes on the outside of Ben, and just about with his momentum, carries the ball over the try line.
And are Wales going to replicate what they did to the Irish last week when they came out in the second half and really blew them away? 7 tries in that second period, and similar sort of approach here.
Well, we were talking about McNannon in the first half, and is his hamstring going to hold up? He's just been stretching behind the goal line. I don't know whether there's going to be a problem, but if they do lose him, that will be a massive loss for this Scottish side.
Lloyd White with the conversion attempt. Again, looking to swing this round, and it looks as though it's on target. It is. Lloyd White converts that. Wales go back in front by 20 points to 16, and just before that try came for Wales, Jordan James came onto the field, and you must acknowledge the fact this is his 17th consecutive appearance for Wales, just 2 short of the record set by the former Wigan Saints and Oldham standoff, Bill Francis. And I imagine Bill Francis might well be watching this game this afternoon.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't. I know he'd be delighted with the form of like the standoff Lloyd White or even Elliot Keir. Bill himself was a versatile back who created and scored many tries throughout his career. He'd be happy to see Wales scoring tries in such fashion today.
Jordan James hasn't missed a game for Wales since October the 26th in 2003. And he's also equaling the record, the Jim Mills record of the most capped forward. Oh, interception, and Moore couldn't take it. He desperately lunged for that ball as it floated in front of him tantalisingly.
Well, that time he put himself in position. Morty was looking at the try line. He was free. All he's got to do is catch this ball, bring it back in. You can see the agony on his face.
Well, it's about converting chances, isn't it, at the highest level of this sport? John Steele had one in the first half, an interception that went against them. Wales scored. There was a second one there for Gareth Moore.
I think what he did, Phil, is he put himself in the position to intercept it, but didn't expect to get it. You got to fly up like that and not make a tackle. You got to expect the ball to come into you.
Unlucky for Gareth Moore, a youngster who once played against Kyle Eastman, of course, star of the England side last night, and that was in a junior academy grand final when Gareth Moore was at Leeds and Kyle Eastman was in the Saints Academy structure. And Eastman looking forward, I'm sure, to next Saturday in that game at Elland Road when England will take on Australia, a game you can see, of course, on Sky Sports. What a night that's going to be. A great England performance last night, but here it's about Wales and Scotland, and it's the Welsh who are ahead by 20 points to 16. Oh, a bad pass and then knocked on, and Sheffield head-to-head there, Shostak and Jordan James.
Back here, boys. Back here, boys. Come back. Scotland.
It's a soft pass to Gil Dudson. He can't quite take it in. Look, he tells lies with the eyes by looking as though he's going to pass the ball him to a teammate.
Surely Jordan James doesn't fancy himself as a halfback, does he?
It's a nice try.
It's given Scotland the possession again. Here is Brendan Lindsay, mobbed by the Welsh defenders, put down to ground on his own 40-metre line. John Duffy serves it up to Paddy Cooper. Cooper will play the ball. Duffy now to Neil Lowe. Lowe pounded down again on the halfway line. And very nearly taken out of the hands of Paddy Cooper there. Lloyd White was looking for it. Here's Richard Fletcher. 4 tackles gone, just inside the Welsh half, the Scots, and they get the penalty. I think there was a hand in there. Gil Dudson, who the referee has picked out. Bit of a facial going on.
For all the hard work that they've done in defence, they've restricted Scotland to 17 metres, then they give the penalty away.
That was unnecessary from Gil Dudson, and it's put Wales under pressure. Out of the blocks very quickly at the start of this second half, getting that try from Christian Ruertz, which has put them back in front, but now having to backpedal. There could be another penalty, and it's Ben Flower who clumsily came over the top and conceded the penalty.
Want to give them a long time. Look, Fletcher's wriggling around on the floor. There's two players around his ankles. Two consecutive penalties. Very often it's a sequence that leads to try.
Go.
To Scotland. Up the middle with the big guns. Fletcher it is. Plays the ball. This time Wales makes sure there's no interference. Duffy, Lindsay. Here is the fullback, Jamie Benn. Nanin. Nanin pops the ball over the top. Looked forward to Steele, but it wasn't. Four tackles, 3 tackles gone. Can the Welsh survive this Scottish assault? It went backwards, says the referee. Well, hang on a minute. Shane Hayne indicated first of all that that ball had gone backwards, then he changed his mind.
Well, you really have to be critical of Scotland's play. It's a poor pass from the acting half-back area. Doesn't go any man particular, and then John Duffy just loses concentration. I don't know whether it is a knock-on. It does seem to go through his legs and backwards. I can't quite see where a knock-on has come from, but it's a massive relief for Wales.
A let-off for the Welsh. Here's Lloyd White now.
That's one. Move. Hold.
Another one of the Crusaders youngsters, Lloyd White. Williams now.
Surrender.
Wales 20 points to 16 ahead here, and Jordan James, man of the match, with a ball and a run like that in the performance against Ireland last week.
And that's how you run onto the ball. If you run as hard like that, you're going to get your arm speed because you're going to knock defenders off.
Oh, they had numbers out wide and they've put the ball down. They were lining up there, the Welsh.
Well, they seem to have targeted the left-hand side of the field. They've got more attackers than there are defenders, yet they can't put the ball in the hands of their opponent out wide. John Steele does well to put his opponent under pressure. I think it's Chris Beasley who comes closing in on. It was the only option for the winger. He had to restrict the time that the Welsh players had in...
Iestyn Harris just concerned about the errors creeping into his size performance and maybe the penalties that they're conceding. Paddy Cooper up the middle and offside against the Welsh.
I think he was saying that the markers out square there. He was shouting number 4 for Christian Ruertz. Wasn't stood square. He was trying to indicate don't get involved. The left centre for Wales couldn't resist. Now then, maybe he's not quite in front of Mick Nannin. Stood directly opposite the man playing the ball to be in an onside position.
The Scots can't complain about the penalty count, about the territory that the Welsh are handing them.
That's one.
And this could be a costly phase of the game. Beasley putting that pass down a few moments ago, which might well have opened up the Scottish defence. Now they find themselves on the back foot and defending their own try line after that penalty. Neil Lowe. Good quick play the ball from the Scotland prop. Duffy fires the dummy away. Takes the tackle. Right underneath those posts. Andrew Henderson has joined the fray. Gareth Moore pops the pass out. It's with Henderson, Kevin Henderson that is. Kevin and Andrew Henderson, the Torquay-born, Australian-raised brothers. Ian, the other brother, back in Australia. Good pass from Nannin. Nannin finds Steele. Steele bumps them off, comes back in field. Still going across the field, then looks to straighten it up, John Steele. That's the 5th tackle. Can Wales survive this onslaught? Gareth Moore. Moore, little grubber kick. It worked last week. It could work this week. Fletcher on the end of it.
Well, he'd have to be very close to being offside here, Richard Fletcher, because I think when the kick went in, initially he was hesitant to go for the ball. It almost appeared that he himself felt to be offside. He's waited and waited and waited. At that point, well, from this angle, he looks as though he's just in front of the ball. We'll get to see from the sideline. He snatched it out of the arms of Lee Williams, but was he in front of the kick ball?
He was.
I think he
He's
was.
well in front there, isn't he?
But you know what? he's grounded, okay, no, that's lazy play. That's lazy play. If he's going to chase a kick, you got to do an onside chase, and he's cost his side there.
Richard Fletcher hoping that the decision will be in his favour, but it's not from Ben Thaler. He was offside, and Wales breathe an almighty sigh of relief.
Correct decision. I mean, Goody's made a bit of an effort to chase, but there's no point in doing it from an onside. Like I say, you're going to cost your side a penalty, and now from maybe trapping them in goal or getting even a try, even better, they've conceded a penalty, and they're going to have to defend on their 40.
Right there, where you are.
The kick from Moore.
I think he was expecting the kick to take place a little quicker. I mean, in defence of Richard Moore, getting your timing right, knowing when your man inside is going to kick the ball is difficult. It's a imagination and prediction you've got to come up with.
I've just thrown that argument out of court.
Thank you.
On the halfway line, and Wales, having survived a scare there, know that they've got to maintain their discipline. Here is Geraint Davis from Llandudno. Davis, formerly of Aberafan, fighting Irish, and a real long servant of the Celtic Crusaders campaign. Geraint Davis played in their first ever game against Hemel Stags in 2006. There is Jordan James, a long servant of Wales.
Hold. Go.
As is this guy, Ian Watson. Watson's pass finds Lloyd White. White has got great pace. He's got the ball back inside for Williams, and Williams puts it down the line at his mercy.
Release. Gerard.
Lee Williams. Glory was on a plate for him there after a fantastic break from Lloyd White.
Well, he just seems to snatch at the ball. It's put almost into a perfect position. There's too much tension in his hands, and it forces and bounces away from him. We've gone end-to-end with 2 disallowed tries. First one for offside, the second one for a poor catch.
Might they regret these missed opportunities, because the ball is wide with Steele. Steele has got some pace. Good tackle though that time.
All right, here.
Wales regrouping. Little chip kick ahead from Lindsay. Sostak is onto the chase. Alex Sostak, has he got the pace? Ball over the top for Steele. Steele gets it out wide for Lindsay. Lindsay, little grub kick ahead. It comes to nothing, and Wales could break back. Enterprising play from the Scots there.
We might not have had any points, but we've had more excitement in the last 5 minutes than you get in many games alone. It's been brilliant stuff, end to end here now. It's really opening up.
Absolutely incredible, well scrambled defence there. There were 6s and 7s and still managed to stop the Scottish from getting in.
Christian Roets now. Roets driven towards the sideline by the Scottish defence. It's got a touch of a Thursday night on Sky Sports. Some of the great championship action we've seen on Thursday nights during the season with these two sides, with no inhibitions. A good kick, deep kick, and Jamie Benn there to retrieve it for the Scots and looking to bring it away.
Well, you can't die wondering, can you? But you've got to go out there, you've got to play. You've just got to come up with a performance. When you play international rugby league, it goes up another level. It goes up quicker. The hits are bigger. The runs are faster. The game, and you talk about the championship on Thursday nights. A lot of these lads in the Scottish team playing that championship league.
Try, release.
Of course, we'll be back on a Thursday night in 2010 with the championship, the Northern Rail Cup, to run alongside our Super League coverage here on Sky Sports. Looking forward to that in the new year. And the season coming to a climax in the UK with this European Nations and, of course, the Four Nations final next Saturday.
You're locking him in.
20 points to 16. Wales lead here at the Brewery Field. Duffy, dying swan routine, gets to his feet to play the ball. Gareth Moore hoists that one. It's maybe a little bit too deep. And the fullback, Elliot Keir, made that his. Takes it nicely and swats aside the first challenge. There's not a lot of this guy. And Duffy gets hold of what there is and flattens him.
You're right about this guy, Phil. Brian Noble's going to have a close look at him for next year. He could be a useful addition to a Super League squad.
Well, it's always dangerous when you play against a side whose fullback is thinking counter-attack. And that's what I think Elliot Keir does. When he gets possession, he thinks, how can I hurt my opponents? Where are the gaps in there? Where are the weaknesses? And he looks for them instantly.
You know, we spoke about him before the game, and you said how much he reminded you of Stuart Reardon when he was at his pop at Bradford, and you're right. He brings the same sort of attacking prowess to his game, which is great to see from a fullback.
Watson screaming out instructions to his teammates there as he was about to be collared by the Scottish defence. But that's a good chip kick ahead. Williams, a great ball for White, and this time they will finish it off. Well, they bombed one a few moments ago when White tried to set up Williams. This time, Williams atones for his sins to set up that for Lloyd White. A lovely little chip kick ahead. And the Welsh finish it off, and they are playing with some style here in Bridgend.
Well, it's a last tackle option, and it's the variety that Wales have shown. At times they've kicked long, at times they've kicked deep, but this time it's the chip kick over by Lloyd White. Lee Williams is the man who stays onside and then regathers possession, but the man who kicks it waits patiently inside for possession, takes it back and brings it closer to the goal post. Excellent try for Wales.
Lloyd White takes a breather before taking the goal kick. He kicked 5 from 8 against Ireland last week. And he's another one of these players who I'm sure is going to figure in the Crusaders campaign. Incidentally, there's a really interesting book just published about the recent history of rugby league in Wales. It was launched just yesterday, in fact, just up the road here at the big out-of-town shopping centre. Iestyn Harris was there to assist in, and so was Kevin Ellis. The Welsh Crusade, it's called. And there's a book about Billy Boston out as well, just come out, I understand, and that is called, as Lloyd White misses that conversion, Billy Boston, rugby league footballer. That's what it's called.
And not a bad one at all, he was. A real talent. Speaking of talented players, Lloyd White there. You can see he gets the ball, he takes it to the line, he has a little look up, he sees that James Nixon comes out the line, there's no winger in place, and they just back up. Real good, enterprising player by this Welsh side.
Stay on side.
So Wales ahead by 24 points to 16, a bit of breathing space, but the way this game has ebbed and flowed, you wouldn't bank against the Scots coming back. Next Saturday, remember, the Four Nations final coming up. It all comes to a head with England against Australia next Saturday, 7 o'clock, live from Ellen Road in Leeds, Sky Sports 2 and HD2. It's going to be a great night. If you can get there, do so. If not, the action will be live on Sky Sports. Great atmosphere at Huddersfield on Saturday night, it has to be said. And here, Wales in sight of silverware themselves and really upping the tempo in this second half. Devorty, chancy pass, Jordan James on the end of it, and again able to offload. Here is Budworth now. That's the 5th tackle. What's the kick going to be like? It's Ian Watson who pops it over the top. He had time to just seize up the opportunity, and he finds Jamie Benn having to retrieve it from his own in-goal area.
Well, we get to see just how good Scotland are, how prepared they are to work here now. With 8 points behind inside the last quarter, they need to lift to a higher level now. Somehow, they need to get upfield and they need to play at a higher tempo.
Here is Neil Lowe. Bricks and mortar man of this Scottish pack. Plays the ball on his own 30-metre line. Henderson. That's Andrew to Kevin. Kevin on the deck. Andrew with the pass. Oh, and a little bit of indecision there. And it's Patterson with the kick, and he drills that one downfield, and it's not a bad one, you know, looking for a 40-20. And Lee Williams has to go back and pick the ball up. It could have worked out nicely. But here he comes again, this rangy fullback, Elliot Keir. You fancy he's probably going to have to bulk up a little bit.
I don't know, he looks brave enough the way he carries the ball to me at the moment.
No, not at all. Why would you change it? He moves well like that. You put too much weight on him, he changed the way he moves. Look at Sam Tompkins. I think you'd ruin Sam Tompkins if you try to bulk him up too much.
Chris Beasley qualifies through the residency rule. Chris Beasley, formerly of Saint-Gaudens, of course, Australian background. Oh, the pass was risky, and again they were looking for the intercept. Fletcher went for it.
If you come out the line, though, you've got to make sure you get hold of that ball. You put yourselves under all kinds of pressure.
Lloyd White's gone for a 40-20 this time. Jamie Benn nonchalantly across to field that ball.
What I always look for here now in the Scottish side, how many of their players are prepared to chase this as if they're chasing for a try. And when they want to work back quickly, here's a player who potentially could lift them. Nixon, the winger, James Nixon, is a flyer, but he's not had a lot of possession. He needs maybe somehow to get involved. John Steele carries it again the next time.
Nixon is one of the quickest men in the game, and John Steele, the other winger, is no slouch either, so they've got some real pace on the flanks of the Scots if they can get the ball out wide. They've lost that ball, it's gone backwards, says the referee. He waves play on. It's Jamie Benn, the full-back. All the Scots need is just a little scent of a chance to get back in the game. Still plenty of time for them.
5, release now!
That's the 5th tackle, though. As Rob Lunt it is who plays the ball. It's Lunt on the field with Ian Morrison unavailable because of that chest infection.
That's okay. Wales won't be disappointed with that. That'll give them a chance. I'd say they'd much rather this. Walk to the scrum, get a chance for a breather. They know they're going pretty good getting out, taking it off their own line.
Well, this is where Scotland really need to up their tempo, isn't it? They've got to really focus in on the defence. They've got to control the speed of which Wales are playing the ball. Because the youth that they've got in their team, the Wales side, they are playing on the front foot because there's more players pushing up in support.
You're dead right, and you talked about the speed of the ball. The noticeable thing about Wales in this second half has been the speed and the intensity to do everything. Phil mentioned in the first few minutes of the second half. They played with an intensity, and 64 minutes into the game, I'm looking around the players like Jordan James, Terry, who's a prop, and he doesn't look tired for a man that's done some big minutes tonight.
Well, it's one of those, if you control the ball, you have hold of the ball, you don't get tired. It's when you've got to try and dominate someone in defence, take down a big 17-stone fella, try and knock him on the backside. That's when it really takes the energy out of you.
There is Jordan James. Ian Watson it was who was the injured player, and we mentioned Ian Morrison being unavailable for the Scots. They've also got 3 players away at weddings. Would you believe? 3 players unavailable because of marital duties, with Ben Fisher away in Sydney getting married. Ollie Wilkes is on his honeymoon. I think just back, in fact, Ollie Wilkes, from his honeymoon. He got married in Cyprus, and Chris Armitt was married in Hawaii a couple of weeks ago and probably still enjoying his honeymoon. Still, where would you rather be?
They sound like nice places to visit, but would you not rather be playing the international?
The chance of glory here for the Scots. First time ever is the incentive. But it's Wales who are ahead by 24 points to 16 in this European Cup final. Just need to hold their nerve, and with players like Neil Budworth and Jordan James in the rank, there's every chance of that. James deciding to hang on to the ball. Lee Williams had overrun it. On the last now. Will Watson go for a little chip kick? He will, and they're chasing it. But Steele has got the pace to get back there. Good work from Steele. Got there ahead of Rhys Williams.
Well, it's Wales who are pushing hard, aren't they? They're trying to find the killer blow here. Further try, I think, gives them the European Nations Cup. At 8 points with, what, 14.5 minutes to go. The game's still evenly balanced. And yet, at the moment, Wales, when they're forcing Scotland back in possession, seem to have a tight grip on the trophy already.
But you cannot rule out this determined, battling Scottish side. All they need is just a hint of a chance, but they can't at the moment get near that Welsh try line.
Well, in the first half, he made 5 breaks down the right-hand side, and in the second half, he seems playing in this left-hand channel.
Lindsay has gone for a big kick downfield, but Keir taking that one with consummate ease. He really has impressed in what we've seen of him so far this championship. Elliot Keir just broke into the Crusaders side at the end of the season. But there are other talented players out there for Wales. There are other talented players who haven't made the cut.
He's obviously brave, Elliot Keir. He doesn't mind running into the big guys. What he's probably got to do, he's very in his game, is if he's not big enough to deal with 3 big guys tackling him, try and find one and get a quicker play of the ball. It's so important that your fullback, if he's returning the ball.
Great run from Budworth, and Budworth has got some... Oh, Budworth had support. They still keep the ball alive. Beasley, can he finish? Just short of the try line, Chris Beasley. The referee calls time off. Beasley reckons he's over.
Check the ground in here, please.
Sure, he's got it. He's confident.
It looked as though the chance had gone, but they kept the ball alive. And Chris Beasley, has he spun his way over here? Or is it a double movement? He's nowhere near there, surely.
Seems to finish up on the line.
Steele with the tackle. Patterson in there as well. There's a little double movement, I reckon.
I disagree, Bill, if I can here without too much controversy in the commentary box.
You're perfectly
I think he
entitled to.
continues to roll over the line here. We're watching this in slow motion, don't forget.
Would you like
I'm
to
putting
see
the
that full
case
pace?
forward for the try.
Okay.
And he rolls forward. John Steele's done a remarkable effort, but he can't stop human nature, and that our body's rolling forward here. The momentum carries him forward to the line,
And this is where I want to have a look.
and he just rests the ball on the try line for 4 more points.
Okay. What's the count in the box?
You'd like to see that at full speed. I'm with you there, Phil. You can't just
swung
stop.
one more already
you
here,
can't
Brian.
just stop dead.
The swing voters are going to win this.
When you're running, his momentum's going to the line. There he goes.
Oh, little nudge.
I think there could be a little nudge there.
Okay.
Ben Thaler is the video ref.
I'm going to go no try.
Well, there
Terry?
are some killjoys. Some
Terry?
people who just want to find
Well,
a
I'm
way
gonna go on
to
this
disallow
angle.
a try.
Here we go. Do you know what? I'm going to go with Brian, Phil. I'm very sorry.
Oh,
I think you could be
turned him
outnumbered
back.
here.
Turned him back.
Bill?
Beasley reckons he's got it. Video ref Ben Thaler thinks otherwise. And it was a double movement from Chris Beasley.
I didn't hear the confidence in your voice there. That was a great offload, though.
I think John Steele does really well. I did think it was a try, but anyway, good credit to John Steele. He's kept Scotland's hopes alive in this match.
Right, there you go.
They need a moment of inspiration. That's one defensively. They need one offensively here now, because they can't find a way through what is such a determined Welsh defence.
12.5 minutes on the clock, which is
Here's 10. Hold. Hold.
24-16. Wales are ahead. Lindsay turns it back to Jamie Benn, and Benn looking for an opening in the Welsh defence, nothing doing. Matt Barron it was with the tackle. Here is Duffy now. Bit static, the Scots in attack. Change of direction. Lunt. Brother Sean, in fact, having a fantastic season with the Huddersfield Giants.
Hold. Go.
Rob Lunt, not such a great year, but he's done well to get into action. In fact, he had a really serious back injury, restricted to just 1 appearance for Workington this season, so he'll be glad to be out there and involved for Scotland. But here comes Scotland with Kevin Henderson. Henderson taking on Lee Williams. Williams sticks to his man and makes the tackle. On the last, needs to be a good kick. Duffy will probably have those kicking duties. Hoists the kick. The chase is on, and it's well taken.
Hold. Hold. Go.
Rhys Williams it was who was underneath it on that far side of the ground.
Well, an excellent catch under incredible pressure from John Steele, who's doing everything he can in the Scottish jersey to inspire and lift his team, defending at one end and putting his opponents under pressure, but that's an excellent defensive catch by Lee Williams on the left wing for Wales.
Ian Watson still calling the shots. Real ringmaster for this Welsh side, who
21. Move.
look as though they might have what it takes to ride out the storm here. On the last, though, it's not a good kick, and Fletcher looking to pounce on the ball, and it's back to 6, says the referee. That could have gone either way, and Ian Watson must be breathing a sigh of relief there, because that charge down could have ended up in Scottish hands.
Well, every team in sport needs an element of luck, and Ian Watson's had his here. Ricocheted off the Scottish player, but falls kindly for the Welsh.
12. Move. Hold here.
Fletcher just got a hand in the face from Lloyd White, and White and Fletcher just have a little set-to off the ball. Great offload from Matt Barron. And here is Ben Flower, 1 try already to his name. Geordie Matt Barron, whose grandmother was Welsh, involved there. Watson with a little kick ahead. Beasley chasing that one. So is Williams. Williams could have this one. Rhys Williams finishing that one off. And that could be the try that seals the European Nations Cup for the Welsh. Well, defending at one end, Rhys Williams. It's Williams who's the try scorer. Gets his 4th try in the colours of Wales. And on the books at Warrington with younger brother Ben. And he got a try against Ireland last week. He's got a crucial try now
Well, Wales
against the
survived,
Scots.
and they survived, didn't they, at one end. The charge down on the kick fell kindly for Wales. Ian Watson landed on the ball. And then from the end of that set, Watson's eyes were good enough to see some space behind the line. John Steele was up, and he couldn't prevent Rhys Williams from grounding in goal here for what would probably be the winning try for Wales. They demonstrated some nice skill in the build-up to this, quick into passing amongst forwards from Budworth around the ruck area, and then they showed the kick and the try, which should give Wales glory.
So Rhys Williams with the try, Lee Williams with the conversion attempt from way out wide, taking over from Lloyd White, the goal-kicking duties. I think White will probably get them back after that. He's missed with that, but it might be incidental now, because that try from Rhys Williams looks to have put Wales out of reach of this Scottish side and set Iestyn Harris on course for silverware in only his 4th game in charge of the national side. What a turnaround this would be for the Welsh side if they are to go on and win this competition, which it looks like they'll do now, although still 8 minutes to go. The Scots have the ball back.
And Wales have come out in the second half, and they really have upped it. The forwards are running with conviction. It's 15 offloads to 6 in Wales' favour. It's the second phase rugby that's really troubling this Scottish side.
The Scots need something on the scoreboard soon. They're chasing that kick for all they're worth. And Bateman back there to field the ball. Wales have it back. They just need to hold their nerve, hold possession, not do anything silly now, the Welsh. Here's Ross Devorty. Dad Gary, of course, a Great Britain international. And Ross Devorty just playing the ball, then leaving the field now. Jordan James returning again. Wales ringing the changes.
Hold. Go.
To Scotland. Looks as though their hopes of winning their first ever trophy are going to be dashed here with a great performance, second half performance from the Welsh. Real nip and tuck stuff in the first half, nobody dominating, but this second half has largely belonged to the Welsh. Here is Kevin Henderson now. Henderson on the halfway lines.
For 2 consecutive weeks, Wales have been able to come out after that half-time rest and play at a greater speed, a higher intensity than their opponents. Been rewarded with some risk-taking. They've kept the ball alive, they've supported, and they've taken some chances, but they've been prepared to work hard enough. They've had a collective desire that was greater than their opponents.
Nannin, haven't seen much of him in the second half, saw a lot in the first half with that hat-trick. He's managed to get the ball away, but I think...
4, Scotland, more, 4! Here it is.
I was going to say that Welsh should come up with it, but Andrew Henderson managed to get a hold of it. Here is Duffy now. Duffy's pass for Patterson. A try here, and the alarm bells might just start ringing, especially if the Scots could convert it on the last now. Duffy, little chip kick over the top. They're all chasing it, but it's Wales who get a hold of it.
Field of play, guys, into here.
Well, Lloyd White does well in goal here.
Just walk
To
away.
make sure that he's going to be the one lifting highest in the air to gain possession and frustration now. I think Mitch Stringer and the Scottish teammates know that with just a few minutes left, the chances of winning this game are all but gone. He lifts from the field of play, he's then grounded in goal, and that's the reason why the referee Shane Hayne has given a goal line dropout. Scotland should get possession again from this.
And you've got to credit the Welsh defence, just as against Ireland last week and against Serbia the week before. In the second half, they've just upped the game defensively and kept their opponents at bay, which is what they've done in the second half here. The Scots unable to find a way through this Welsh defence.
Well, Bill, I said before, they've changed their attack. They're attacking down this left-hand side. They passed the ball to Mick Nannin, and he bustled through about 4 or 5 plays. He's probably the most potent threat that they've got on the side. So why are they not playing to him? 6 minutes to go, there's 2 tries in it, and I'm sure Mick Nannin could score a couple of them.
28-16 the scoreline, though, in favour of Wales, coming up to the last 5 minutes of this final. And Wales looking to repeat their success of 1995 when they won this tournament. They had a couple of nail-biting games in that. Just managed to beat England 18 points to 12. 18 points to 16 in actual fact in 95. Beat France 22-10. And young Iestyn Harris was in that side.
Come on, it's not a break
Now
time,
he's
let's just
coaching
get
the
in.
side
Wait for the whistle.
that is looking 14 years later to lift this trophy again.
And a touch older as well, but
Touch grayer, he admits. And that's what coaching does to you, and that's after only 4 games in charge.
Well, on the evidence of the games we've seen him coach, he's got a massive future, I think, in that profession as well. Again, keep the ball alive.
And again, it's Jordan James with a great strong run and managing to get the hand free to offload, and Wales maybe have another try in their armoury yet. Little kick ahead, out of play though, out on the full. Watson, shake of the head. I don't know what he's kicking himself about, because he's come up with another great performance in his 23rd international for Wales. Longest serving player out there. And he's really guided this side around, and they've needed that. An old head, they've got some youngsters out there, and an old head, and the old head, not just Ian Watson, likes of Jordan James as well, Neil Budworth. They've guided them around.
Neil Budworth's been a very good, I mean, he's a player, he knows what he can do, and he doesn't try and do anything above that. You don't see Neil Budworth trying to kick 40-20s. It's not in his armoury. He's a player that runs when it's on and otherwise pass the ball. He's developed into a very, very good Super League player, and I think Celtic are lucky to have somebody like him. He works very, very well with Jordan James and gets his forwards going. He's a good hooker.
Henderson, Wales determined to keep the Scots scoreless in the second half here, and they've got just under 4 minutes to ensure that. But Nannin, lovely ball round the corner, finds Steele, and the Scotsman, Middlesbrough born, comes scampering back infield. John Steele takes the tackle, plays the ball. Here's Andrew Henderson. Duffy now. Duffy for Patterson. Patterson flips the ball back inside to Kevin Henderson. They're trying everything to find a way through this Welsh defence of the Scots. That's the 5th tackle. And Duffy going down the short sides, and that comes to nothing. There was only Lee Patterson as an option on that short side. And Duffy, a shake of the head from John Duffy. He's been around a long time on the international scene as well. Just like Ian Watson, he's Scotland's longest server. Made his debut just age 17 back in 1997. And winning his 10th cap here this evening, but it's going to be an unhappy experience for John Duffy and the other Scots. But they've made more progress again, this Scottish side, World Cup finalists. Last year, European Nations finalists this year. And of course, there's just silverware and glory at stake this evening, but next year, the winners of this tournament will be lining up, or line themselves up, for a place in the 2011 Four Nations tournament. They'll be taking on England, Australia and New Zealand in that tournament, the winners of this tournament. So next year there'll be an awful lot to play for. Not that there isn't tonight.
Well, the
Cooper
benchmark
now
for these two sides will of course be France, really, the side who are in it this year in the Four Nations. And I think if Iestyn Harris's team can continue to improve over the next 12 months, as well as they've done over the last month, they've got every chance of challenging France as the side to be in the Four Nations in 2011. Pasco's out of play there now for Scotland, and perhaps a last opportunity here for now with Wales to attack and send the crowd home happy.
Well, they'll be pretty happy already with their side 28 points to 16 ahead. A desperate effort from Lee Patterson to get that ball wide to John Steele, try and give him a run. Steve McCormack, grim-faced,
Let's go, Wales.
and he'll,
All in, lock.
once he's finished this, he'll turn his attention to the job he's got.
Yep.
And what a job it is as well, taking over at Barrow Raiders, the champions of the championship. Going to work alongside Dave Clark at Craven Park there next season, and that pre-season training for that will start very shortly for Steve McCormack once this European tournament is out of the way. Messett to play the ball. Wales get the penalty inside the last minute here.
And again, this Wales side, there's a lot of urgency in him. You can see that Lee Williams, he tries to get up. Kevin Henderson just giving that penalty away. But there's a lot of hunger in this Wales side, and Iestyn Harris will be really happy with that. They missed out on the World Cup last year, but they've been fantastic this year.
Iestyn Harris and his backroom staff ready to celebrate as Wales put the ball down, and they haven't done much of that in the second half. The error count from Wales has been pretty low, as has the penalty count. They've been much more disciplined in this second half, and it's paid dividends for them.
The ball's been kept in play. The game's been played really well. It was Ben Farrell who dropped that ball. But you can see, look at the speed of which they're getting off the line. And this is what's won them the game, especially the second half performance.
A second half that comes to an end, and Iestyn Harris, only 4 games in charge as Welsh national coach, celebrating success and silverware in this European tournament. And Jordan James, who's exemplified the Welsh spirit in this tournament, leading from the front. And at times when they've been on the back foot, they've responded well. And in the end, they had too much for the Scots here this evening. A Scotland side that led early on by 6 points to 0 and regained the lead at half-time, but really didn't get a look in the second half because they carried out the coach's words right to the letter. And we can hear from the coach, Iestyn Harris, now. He's down on the sidelines talking to Ben.
Iestyn, European champions. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and you know, it's really good. I thought we showed a lot of maturity out there. We've got a lot of young boys in that Welsh team that are going to mature over the next 3, 4, 5 years, and it does us in pretty good for the future, doesn't it? And I thought some guys played outstanding out there today.
Is that one of the most exciting factors about this win, the fact that the Scotland side so much more experienced, but so much potential in this Wales side?
Yeah, there is a lot of potential in this side, and when we got together 4 weeks ago, we had some young boys that were a little bit raw, and we've had to do a lot of work with them over the 4 weeks, but you know, they've really got to the grasp of it really, really quickly, and I'm extremely proud of everybody who played today.
And I'm sure you'll be proud as well. Nip and tuck in that first half, but really it was the flair that got you through in the end in the second period.
Yes, it was. You know, we had an expansive game plan again, and you know, at times it's going to send me grey pretty quickly. But you know, I thought the way we played the second half really showed the potential in the side, and you know, we're going to improve over the next few years.
And for you personally, 3 games in and a European champion, sensational.
Yeah, it's a nice start to the coaching ladder, but there's a lot of work to do, and you know, it's all about the boys today. I thought they played extremely well. It wasn't about myself or any of the other coaching staff. I thought they really stood up tall, and the younger kids especially. I thought Elliot Akira from the back was particularly good, and Chris Beasley and Jordan James again. So, you know, I thought they played very well.
Congratulations, Iestyn. Well done. Let's bring in the man of the match tonight, Elliot Keir. Elliot, how does that feel?
Oh, it's just great. We stuck to our game plan really well, and the boys just fired out of ball blocks. It was just great. It's great to be here.
And what was the game plan? Because of course Scotland were always going to be a physical challenge, but you showed that you weren't afraid to throw the ball around.
Yeah, we did a bit of video analysis. We knew they were going to be hard up front, but we were going to go wide and just match them up front, and that's what we did.
And a great tournament as well for you. It's not just about today.
Yeah, it's all gone so fast at the moment. Just been a great experience, and I hope to be here next year.
And what can you put into words? I know it's early on, but can you put into words what this means for Welsh Rugby League?
Oh, this is massive for all of us. We've been training really hard. We've got a great new coach in Iestyn, and this is just amazing.
Well done, Elliot. Let's bring in Jordan James, a little bit more experience. Jordan, you've been involved in this team for a long, long time. This must be very, very sweet.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Don't get any better than this. You know, just so proud of the boys, over the moon, you know, from going from last year getting 70-odd points against England to playing this year and winning a European Nations. You know, I'm lost for words at the moment. It's brilliant.
It was always going to be a physical challenge from Scotland. You were in the engine room. What did it feel like, particularly in that first half when it was very close?
We knew it was going to be tough. You know, it always is against the Scots. They always give us a good go up front, and I'm just so proud of the boys. They stood up to it, and you know, brilliant. Just bigger and better things now.
And of course, this tournament as well will decide rankings for next year's European Cup, and then, of course, contention for the 4 Nations comes in. So it's really important in the long term as well.
Yeah, brilliant. You know, honestly, I'm lost for words. I just can't wait. Hopefully we'll get next year, win again, and then we're in the 4 Nations, and then who knows what can happen up there.
Jordan, I mean, it is incredible. We're just waiting for the presentation, but one of the key factors about this Wales team, the way Iestyn's got you playing, and the age as well of the side, so much potential still to come.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You know, the coaching staff for Iestyn and Clive, they've just brought everyone through, and I'm learning things all the time. And so are the young guys. It's just great to be working with both of them, and I can't wait. You know, Celtic Crusaders this year. I think we're going to do things.
Congratulations, Jordan. Well done.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
17 caps in a row for Jordan James, and this 17th one especially sweet as he picks up a winner's medal here. John Risman there, and the Welsh players accepting their medals, but it's the silverware that they're keen to get their hands on. The RugbyLeague.com European Nations Cup, and Lloyd White in there, standout performer. Certainly going to hear more from him. And Ben Flower, who had the captaincy for a while, one of the try scorers this evening, but ceded the captaincy when he was injured to Jordan James. And there is Kevin Rudd in the background. Has a lot to do with the European rugby development. And it's Jordan James who will receive the trophy. And 1995, they last won this European Cup. They have it back in their hands now, 14 years later. And a great day it is for Rugby League in the Principality. When you think of what a traumatic season it has been here in Bridgend, that it should end on such a high note. Such irony, really, because, of course, they'll be moving up the road, will the Crusaders, to Newport. But in the shape of this Wales side, they leave Rugby League here in a very healthy state as European champions. And there they are, this young side, with one or two more senior citizens in there. And good to see Ian Watson as well. He'll be with Swinton next season, of course, in Championship 1. And what an asset he will be to them. But disappointment for the Scots. At half-time, they really were in the hunt here. They were in the lead, in actual fact, but it got away from them in the second half. Let's hear from their coach now, Steve McCormack. He's with Ben.
That's right, Steve. Obviously disappointed, but you were certainly in the contest at half-time. It was anyone's game.
Yeah, probably in the contest, you know, near the end as well. I think it was all about taking his chances today. I thought Wales were very clinical, played very, very well, and we had a couple of little chances. You know, we had a try disallowed for an offside, which was offside, and it's a game of small margins, and in finals you can't afford to do that.
That's right. There were chances on both sides, but those particularly costly to Scotland at the end.
Yeah, correct, and all credit to Wales. You know, they've got a fantastic young team there, and clearly deserve their performance on this trophy as well. But starting point for us, I like to think it's certainly not the end. We've got to our first final, and we can really build on that. Very proud of what these fellas have done for Scotland, and it's important that we build on next year's tournament.
That's right, still progress. First World Cup win last year, first final in 2009. Scotland Rugby League's in great shape.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, desperately disappointed we didn't win this. It would have been fantastic for us. But yeah, we are in great shape. You know, we certainly need to improve. We know that. You know, we don't like finishing second. I certainly don't like finishing second. And you know, I am proud of him. And these fellas have put Scotland on the map over the last 2 years. And I'm sure some of the young players, some of the domestic players which have played for us, will do very, very well in the future.
Thanks very much, Steve.
Thank you.
As ever, Steve McCormack, gracious in defeat. And Jordan James tasting the sweet taste of success for this Welsh side, and for Iestyn Harris, whose team have triumphed here at the Brewery Field in Bridgend. And Ian Webster in there, just to think, he was in an Australian Grand Final earlier this year when he was playing out there for Rockhampton, the Central Comets. Failed there, but he's a winner here with Wales. 28 points to 16, they've triumphed. Mick Nannin that first half hat-trick, but so Wales dominating the second half here and keeping the Scots scoreless and coming up with some great tries